This is the Messiah Hour with Ari Lewis.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio. Thank you for joining us. At any time, you can email the program, messiahhour@gmail.com, or you can email the station, Israel Sports News Radio @gmail.com. Of course, Game 3 of the NBA Finals was last night. Cavaliers pull it off, and now the series is 2-1 in favor of Golden State. Game 4 will be on Shabbat. On the line right now to discuss the Kabbalistic aspects of LeBron James and Company is our favorite rabbi from Modi'in, co-author of the book The World of the Ger, and other books and works as well, Rabbi David Katz. Rabbi, how you doing out there?
Shalom, Ari. How are you?
Yes, indeed. Now, you came up with an interesting idea about an hour ago that I'm still kind of racking my head, that LeBron James has a certain energy where he knows when he's on and when he's off, and that is Mina Shemaim, if you will?
He's basically a Kabbalistic master.
Okay. Well, that's why he's friends with the shady rabbi from Florida.
100%.
So, does he know in advance, in all seriousness, if he's going to be on or if he'll be off?
It depends on if the basket is more inclined towards Hod or Hesed.
Oh, okay. Or if you're Tom Brady, you could just alter stuff with the sporting events.
Did you mean or as in O-R or Aleph Vav Resh?
Whatever one you like.
I like the one that's Ayin Vav Resh. Skin.
Okay. All right. So in any case, there are athletes that go in the zone. We know about that.
Right.
That's a mental situation. But are you saying that's a Kabbalistic situation?
So this is an idea. You and I have worked on this a little bit over the last year or two that we've been doing this, and it's something that it's like you know how there's little ideas you work at just as time goes by, trying to get clarity on certain things. This is one as a former athlete wrestler that I've been working on. Let me explain, because that's pretty vague what I just said. Let me bring it into focus. It all started for me, this idea, I think it was in the 90s. I was reading, I'm kind of a Jimmy Johnson fan, the old coach of the Cowboy teams of 92 and 93. And
by the way, I've interviewed Alan Shlomo Weingrad, who played for the Cowboys team that won Super Bowl 27.
I've actually been to Dallas myself.
Oh, okay. Nice. So, I have not. I maybe in an airport. But anyways, after you tell the Jimmy John, I have a great Jimmy John story regarding Shlomo after you tell yours. But go ahead.
All right. So, I don't know. They were a great team, and I like Jimmy Johnson. To this day, I like Jimmy Johnson. And what I remember, I wasn't much of a reader as a kid because I didn't care about what was Johnny's dog's name. Spot. Those are the kind of books we read as kids. Just kind of blah. They didn't bring us any good reading material, so I went to the library as a kid, and I got the biography of Jimmy Johnson. That's where the energy was. And he was saying that the night before the Super Bowl, one of the two, it was probably against the Bills, wasn't it?
Well, they played the Bills twice.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So it was the night before one of those games, and Jimmy said he was going to win the Super Bowl. And the reason why he knew, because his team on the practice figure that Friday or Saturday, they were just clicking. Nothing was dropped. I mean, really crisp. He said once he saw that practice, he knew that his team was a Super Bowl champion. And lo and behold, they won. So that concept was pretty profound. And then another kind of thing, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine told me there's a concept called psyche-tacky. And that is that when you're in the zone, you become a little bit superhuman, a little faster, a little stronger, and the opposition gets a little bit more slower and weaker. So it ends up becoming a mismatch. I mean, in wrestling, I guess what I'm trying to say is, before I go into that, you would think you have to make up these concepts to grasp them, but they pre-exist. In wrestling, it's called breaking your opponent. Like, once you break his spirit, the match is over. Where wrestling is different than most sports, there's no mercy rule in wrestling. Wrestling is a domination sport. So if I break you in the first 10 seconds and I can pin you, I will. And there's no mercy rule or don't run out the score. Wrestling is about running up the score. So in football, if you broke the team and it's 55-0 after halftime, your third and fourth stringers are going to be in the rest of the game, right? Because you don't want to embarrass their team so bad. So that these concepts exist, but they exist in different elements because not every sport has the same goal, right? I guess in hockey, you would probably never have a mercy rule, right? You're not going to have a 25-0 hockey game. And has that ever happened? I doubt it.
Not that I know of.
Right. So every sport has its gifts that lends spiritual truths. And it's limited. That's why it's sports. But if you get a super conscious position and put them together, you can actually learn pretty cool stuff. Just another soundbite. In the movie Vision Quest, which is like the ultimate wrestling movie of all time, it came out in the 80s. And there was it was Matthew Modine. He was the star wrestler, kind of an artistic kid. He went up against the crosstown rival Super Stud, and he won. But he worked in a restaurant as a waiter, and there was a cook named Elmo, an old guy with a tattoo. And Elmo took off work to see Loudon, the wrestler, wrestle this big match. And the whole movie was building up around this match. He says, Elmo, why are you coming out to see me? You're missing a whole night's pay. And he got real romantic. It's like, kid, and he's putting his necktie on. Kid, I remember 1975. I went to see a soccer match. Yeah, that's right. A soccer match. I saw a guy kick a goal upside down and backwards. It was one of those kind of things. And he said one of the most profound lines in movie history, I think. I mean, it really is. All wrestlers acknowledge this movie as like the pinnacle. But it's a profound line. He says, well, Elmo, it's just 6 minutes. A wrestling match is 6 minutes. Elmo says, kid, it's not about the 6 minutes. It's what happens in those 6 minutes. That's like a profound line in wrestling lore. So when you put these ideas together, this is what Ari and I were talking a little bit before. This is the idea. That if you're going to take Jimmy Johnson and LeBron and just all of sports metaphysics of the game and how it works, I think we can figure out how sports work. And that is like this. In every wisdom, and whatever you do, right? Even if you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? Play along with this game, if you will. There's the night that you're on your game, and there's the night that you're not on your game. Ari, can you follow along with that in at least 3 different genres in your life?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So, it's like for me, when if I'm giving a Torah lecture and I got like a great cup of coffee, I'm on at 9 o'clock and 8:30 comes and I'm feeling it. I know where I want to go. I have, motivational music going in the office. I know it's going to be a good night. It's impossible not. When I'm strung out and tired and kids gave me a hard day, I really don't want to teach tonight. There's a holiday coming next week, let's say. It's like, all right, look, we'll do what I got to do. So that dichotomy exists in every genre. There's always when you're on your game and you pretty much know victory's in your hand. And when you're not in your game, and you'll say, well, sometimes I don't feel either. That means you're not playing the game. That means you're just living as you. So you're either on your game, not on your game, or you're not playing. You're just living your life, paying bills, being a human. So what we can learn from it is when you know you're playing a game, right? Basketball is a defined game. You're playing for the championship in a game of 7 or a series of 7. So it's on. It's like the way it works in holiness also. If you're going to draw a box of holiness will come in, right? Like, all right, if you and I were to have a holy discussion right now, we were to say, okay, game off, let's talk about holiness, and we're going to make it holy. I'm committed, you're committed. We would actually have a holy exchange, right?
Well, we're not doing that now?
We are, but we're pretending to be modest and humble.
You are, I'm not.
But it would have to be agreed. I mean, you have to really like marriage is like that, It's like, if we're going to get in an argument and get shalom bias, you have to both be committed to a holy cause. See what I'm saying? I don't know where you're at in your day, and you don't know where I'm at. So we're going on a relationship that we've had on the show, but I'm talking about really making something Kodesh Kadoshim, sanctified. When the players walk on the basketball court, they're playing for a championship, legacy, history, right? So it's like agreed this is real. They know it's real. With that said, because everyone's committed to the reality of the championship, that's why you're playing. Then the winning team, meaning let's say I don't know when the next game is. Let's just say the game's today, even though it's not. Let's say the game's today. Last night, somebody was feeling like the man. It was either going to be Steph or it was going to be LeBron. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
So last night we're playing in the gym, right? We're the Cavs over here, and we're the Warriors over there. You with me?
Yes.
Either Steph, because he's the leader, or LeBron, because he's the leader. And don't say, what if there's no leader? Because in sports, there's always a leader.
Right. Even the worst team has a leader.
Always. That's why. It's a creational thing. So now, either Steph's going to be like, I feel it, or LeBron is going to be like, I feel it. One or the other. How do you now, the trick, the real Kabbalah, and I don't mean like Masorah Kabbalah, I'm saying perceptive. Who is the real winner? Because let's play a game that Steph is the man right now, okay?
All right.
Steph is going to be contagious. Now, that means sinking threes. He's going to shoot one with his eyes closed, right? And then Clay's going to laugh. And then Kerr's going to hit one from midcourt. And they're going to all know we got it. But who are they going to tell? They're not going to tell anybody. Because why? Because athletes are superstitious. God can change his mind. So they're going to say, all right, keep it cool, guys. Go to bed tonight. Get a good night's sleep. We're ready for this tomorrow, right? Agreed?
I think so, yeah.
So now LeBron is not feeling it based on our simulation, right? He's not feeling like the man. But he's so good, he can pretty much make you believe that he's feeling like the man, correct?
Yeah, and besides, 50% of him is better than everybody else pretty much anyway.
Exactly. But so the only difference is he's lying, but he can cover it up pretty good, correct?
Yeah, well, they say champion fighters, champion liars.
Right.
Champion players, champion liars as well.
That's it. If I'm not really in the mood for a class, I'm not going to say, hey, everybody, really not in the mood for this. You know what? I don't even care. Don't even care. You're probably not going to understand a word I say. No. You have to have emunah, you have to have betachon, you have to have Now I'll tell you why this breaks down this game plan as I'm depicting LeBron. To cover my own conscience here, because I actually don't have bad nights. I like teaching Torah. And what I call that is the Michael Jordan syndrome. Michael Jordan, as we saw in history, never had that losing night. Agreed?
Basically, yeah. There was a couple of times he only had 8 points, but I know what you mean.
But I mean, in the finals, he never got the losing message.
Finals didn't happen, no.
Right. So, and what my point is, everybody has a Michael Jordan in them. Okay, LeBron might be a better bartender than basketball player. It just so happens that he makes more money playing basketball than bartending. Michael Jordan was a better basketball player than bartender. So what your great talent is, that's between you and God, and you're going to have your Michael Jordan moment. I know for me, giving classes, I like toward the point where I don't have a bad, feeling going in. I just don't. I don't know about you, Ari, but I've never sensed you had a bad radio show. That's just how I interpret you. Maybe you feel differently, but I think you're pretty good at this.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. And speaking of that, this is the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio. My guest is Rabbi David Katz. I want to tell you a quick Jimmy John story before we move on. When Alan Shlomo Weingrab was on my program, he mentioned a story that in Super Bowl 27, after they defeated the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC title game, getting ready for the Super Bowl, Jimmy Johnson says, here's what we're going to do. By the way, people should know generally players have Tuesday off. So he said, I'm going to give you Tuesday and Wednesday off to handle any business you have regarding tickets and travel arrangements for your family and for your friends. But Thursday, it's all business. And if I see anyone not focused, I'm sending you home, and that's it. So that kind of speaks to the concept of focus as well, correct?
100%. And this is where I want to go in this next part. I'm not saying Jimmy Johnson was this, but let's put it on LeBron, right? LeBron got the losing message. Agreed? In this little game.
Yeah.
He now has a major, major, major task. He doesn't know if the series was decreed against him, number one. Number two, like you said, his 50% is better than everybody else's 100. So
Except
he's
for Curry and Westbrook, but most people, yeah.
Right. So he's got to at least fake it till you make it. Why? He has to keep the team positive, believing that they have a chance. Now, he knows they lost. He knows it. He knows they lost. But he has to keep their energy high, beliefs high, amuna high. He's got to act and fake it till you make it. Why? Okay, guys, we're going to lose tonight. But, he's going to say we're going to come back. In his mind, he's saying we're going to come back prepared. And we got the home court advantage next round, next game, so we're going to be cool. I'm cool. We got it. I know this. I've been in this position before. He has experience. So he's not overreacting. And that's like what you're saying with Jimmy Johnson. Like once you smell blood, the real leader, he can elicit a change. He can get the team to play because God is the ultimate judge. Let's say that the decree was that it was going to be a close game and you really don't know who the winner is going to be. Or what if there's a fluke? What if Steph's team is supposed to win? Steph gets ejected in the second quarter, flagrant foul. Things change. Or a concussion, broken leg. Right? God is the true judge. So LeBron would have to at least keep his guys ready should there be a shift in heaven towards his favor. Agreed?
Okay, so basically he has to do something in case something above him changes. Is that what you mean?
100%. Change a place, change a mazel. Change a name, change a mazel. Mazel changes all the time. He got the message that he's going to lose. Now in life also, this is an analogy of life. There is such a thing as mazel. What is mazel in the definition of Kabbalah? Good news trickling into the world. I'll give you a great example in wrestling. Frank Molinaro, I don't know kilograms, okay, but I don't know what it is, 61, 64 kilos in Olympic wrestling. I never remember the kilos, but he's about 143 pounds, I think, that division. Because the Americans go by pounds, and internationally we go by kilos. He won the trials, American World Team Trials, which was an upset. No one thought he was going to win. Then America had not qualified their weight. He had to go to Mongolia and win to qualify the weight, or we were going to forfeit that division. Everyone was mad because this is one of our domestic strongest weights. A lot of superstars. But no one succeeded in qualifying the weight. Frank goes to Mongolia, and he tanks it, and he's out. So that's the sign of, like, it was decreed, right? If heaven said, Frank, you're going to lose. And he knew it. We all knew it. Because he was a fluke that he won the world trials. So we knew he was a fluke and going to lose. What happened? The Russian team got caught for doping. They forfeited their spot. Frank gets in. Now Frank is a world team member. And now if I were any other country, I'd be scared to death to wrestle Frank. He won the world trials out of nowhere. He got in the Olympics out of nowhere. If you're wrestling Frank in the semifinals in the Olympics, would you want to wrestle him? I wouldn't.
Doesn't sound like it.
Right.
Doesn't sound like anyone would want to do it. Yeah.
Right, because heaven is pointing against him, and he's prevailing. But the science doesn't change. Kabbalah is mappable in the world of sports very clearly. But so what's the problem? There's a big problem. To know the answer, you would have to be privy to what Steph is feeling and what LeBron is feeling. Like you would have to be like, hey, Bron, what's going on? Hey. You'd have to be that close. And an additional challenge, LeBron's not going to tell you. Right? He's not going to say, I'm feeling horrible. Kevin was dropping the ball all day.
Right.
He's not doing that. He's like, yeah, Kevin's looking great, man. I never saw Kevin sharper. I think the concussion could put some sense in his head. His IQ went up 5 notches. He's amazing. He's not going to do that. right? Steph isn't going to say, I clanked 5 in the back of the rim and they bounced out. And I'll tell you what the problem with Steph Curry, he misses a couple jump shots. He's going to start, feeling very, very nervous based on his style of play. Why was Michael Jordan the greatest? Are you like this? Michael Jordan knew how to get 30 points no matter what. And if you're going to take away the shot, okay, I'll just jump really high. You'll foul me. I'll go to the line, shoot 2. I will get my 30 points. No worries.
Right.
So you're never going to get the real inside scoop. But because it's the world of ASEA that is mostly evil, there are people close to Steph and LeBron, and they are watching. And I guarantee you, if you know what to look for in Mazal, the revelation coming out, you see what LeBron looks like. If you were to study LeBron after 5 wins and 5 losses, I guarantee you the night before would have shown 5 out of 5 what the answer would be. That same for Steph, same for wrestling, same for your radio show, same for a Torah lecture. It's the same principles at play, and it's interesting because we saw LeBron come back, and it just made me think about the Jimmy Johnson lesson that these things are not a surprise. LeBron, I asked you, Ari, in chat, who's going to win? You said the Cavs. Why? Because you felt it, and we knew LeBron felt it, and it was a no-brainer.
Right. I knew also down 2-0, he wasn't going to go down 3-0. I was pretty confident about that. Okay, so what could the average person who doesn't play in the NBA or the NBA Finals, how could they apply that to their own lives?
There's a lot of there's 2 ways. I mentioned them earlier. Number one, this is my personal message I teach a lot. You are Michael Jordan. You have to recognize your Michael Jordan quality. Right? You have a soul, you have mazel, you have wisdom. There's something you do that is craftsman quality, Michael Jordan consistency. It's the thing that it's your godly spark. It's the thing that you're never not in the mood to do. Right? There's a thing that you do that you will never. It's like it's your pizza. You're never not in the mood. Whether it's doing a radio show, for me, it's learning Torah. I would never say no to learning Torah ever. For me, it's easy to the point where it's gonna yield wisdom every time, right? I can't speak for you, Ari, but I will anyways. Go ahead and say. What do you want to say? Is it radio? I don't know. You tell me. I've never seen you give a bad radio show, so that's my opinion. But go ahead. Right.
For me, it'd be the radio.
Yeah. It's just you're up for it. Am I imagining? Tell me if I'm imagining this right. Then you're gonna give a B+ rating person calls you in 20 minutes to do a show. There?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens on the air? It just get a B+. I'll tell you who it is. Third base coach for the Padres.
Okay, I'd get excited for that. I'd still enjoy it.
It came in at 2 a.m.
Okay, I'd probably still do it.
We got to do it at 2:30 because this guy's in the West Coast and he's traveling and he's a fan of Israel and he wants to do it at 2:30.
Yeah, I'd still be down to do it.
Okay, so what happens to your brain?
What happens to my brain? I would just prepare for it.
How? Describe. Why are you not like, this is horrible? I came back late from the hotel. I'm not in the mood. Why are you not telling yourself that little sob story?
Just because, I guess, because I like doing it, I suppose.
So does your brain fill with wisdom?
I hope so. I guess so.
From experience.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So that's why you know the questions to ask and you rap with them and you have rapport, right?
Right, for sure.
That's it. So that experience, that the King David talks about this in the Psalms. Your head fills with just the clouds give way to light, right? You weren't excited 20 minutes ago because you didn't know you were doing the favorite thing you like to do. But now that you're doing the favorite thing you like to do, the clouds went away, the sunlight came in. Hey, it's already Lewis show, everybody. So now you're a little quicker, a little stronger. He's actually a little weaker. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following this guy. And your job is to give him the light. All right? So Bob Jones, I understand you're the third base coach for the Padres. Was it an easy transition from the Cubs I understand you were working for the Cubs last year? What you just did to the guy, it's like, Hey, it is. Yeah, that's right. I was with the Cubs, and yeah, we had a great year, and blah blah blah. Now he's set the tone for you. Do you feel a little intimidated being against the White Sox across the whatever it is? Now it's on. So then there's things that people do that are not quite Michael Jordan. And what's going around the news that LeBron is forced to realize he might not be Michael Jordan. I mean, that's the big fear factor in the series. Steph is pretty much in the clear. He can win or lose. It doesn't matter. LeBron's either going Michael Jordan or he's done.
You think it's that drastic?
Wait, you broke up on me. Go ahead.
You think it's that drastic where he has to go Michael Jordan or he's done? You say that's a necessity.
That's what people are saying. It looks that way because if he loses, he lost, 5, 6, whatever it is.
They're starting to lose count, yeah.
Yeah, and this is one he has to win. This is one Michael Jordan would have won.
Right.
So if he does go down, if we don't see Epic, if we don't see Michael Jordan, Ari Lewis radio show, then it's just something that he's pretty good at. And there's a lot of guys who are pretty good. Kobe was pretty good. John Stockton, Karl Malone were pretty good. Reggie Miller, all those guys.
Charles Barkley.
Right, all the guys we grew up with were pretty good.
But they weren't Jordan. Right. Okay.
Right? Let's give a couple other sports for comparison. Would you say John Elway was Michael Jordan?
No, but Joe Montana was.
Joe Montana definitely was. I would put Elway in that position, in my opinion.
Elway lost 3 times. He lost 3 out of 5.
I know, but he was pretty deadly.
All right, it's debatable.
Yeah. But all those superstars we grew up with, Mario Lemieux was Michael Jordan, right? Wayne Gretzky.
Yes, both. Well, Wayne Gretzky for sure. Lemieux, okay, all right. He won 2 titles with the Penguins.
Yeah. So, then there's I remember I heard an article about this years ago that the Hall of Fame should really be a pyramid, right? Your Babe Ruths.
I like that.
Yeah, Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan. Those guys are, the icon. Muhammad Ali is your Facebook picture shows, and then the
boxing,
right, and then the pretty goods. LeBron. The debate going on is LeBron James pretty good or is he epic? And in order to be epic, you have to show epic. The surprise in life is everybody has an epic card. Everybody. That's why I put John Elway in that thing. He did some epic stuff, but. The point is that if you're not in your epic zone and you're competing in an epic arena, then you're going to be going up against epic people. I mean, this is why one of the questions I asked a friend, why is it in NASCAR the same 2 guys win every race?
Right.
And there's everybody else is being lapped. And they told me it's just like it in every other sport, right? It was for a long time it was the Yankees and everybody else. Right, it was the Lakers and everybody else. Therefore, you might get 1, you might get 2 if you're lucky. You'll pull off a pretty good one, just like in wrestling. A decent wrestler, meaning a good but non-consistent wrestler, can get a win pretty much on any day. But to be a good wrestler is someone who's consistently good. My point is that if you are not in your Michael Jordan zone, then you're in your pretty good zone. Otherwise, you're not playing at all. And if you're not playing, that's fine. Go pay your bills. But if you're in your pretty good game, the thing is you can know your Mazal how it goes. You can pay attention. And I guess, it's about being honest with yourself. I think this is where faith and Batako and trust in God come in. Good traits, not selling out. Not pointing blame after it goes down. Because you're going to lose. You're going to lose some. Michael Jordan wasn't always epic. He became epic at his thing. So everybody is in that world of pretty good for a while. Where your Michael Jordan card comes in, that's for you to discover. And I think that's my point, is that we are discovering LeBron. LeBron is discovering LeBron. And the Steph Curry, LeBron James tug of war is about discovery, and all the players are in real time discovering as this thing goes on every day.
Again, this is the Messiah Hour here at Israel Sports News Radio, joined by Rabbi David Katz from Modine. And, of course, you can pick up his works on Amazon. We'll talk more about that at the end of the program. So what would your advice be to LeBron James heading into Game 4 if you could get in his ear?
I mean, if I had his ear, I would say, I mean, like really his ear, which is fictitious because it goes against the whole fabric. Because if LeBron is supposed to be an accountant, then what's the answer? Take the loss and go be an accountant, right? Stop wasting your time and your life chasing a dream that's not yours. But that would upset everybody. Rabbi David Katz told LeBron to be an accountant, and he walked out. I mean, this is the whole thing with the pastor that recognizes the issue isn't God, right? He walks out in the middle of his congregation. So, in a theoretical place, I would, if I were to talk to LeBron theoretically, I would say, what happened last night? He would say either I'm the man or I'm not the man. Then if he's the man, you say go get him, Tiger, because it's already been decreed. If he's not the man, even for selfish reasons, I would want to analyze it just to understand how Mazal works. And it's an exploitation because, I mean, you're asking a guy to tell you why he's a failure, why he's going to lose, and why he should be an accountant. So it's not an ethical little game we're playing because I wouldn't want him to lose. I wouldn't want him to be, to put that pressure on somebody. But again, in a theoretical domain, for the sake of learning about how Mazal works, kind of like when people die and they donate their body parts. I mean, that kind of thing. I would want to know really the psychology and anatomy of losing, right? Of how the Mazal comes down, how it trickles through the team, what he did to raise the morale, even though. So my advice in this construct would it's very difficult because it's antithetical to him, but it would be, to live Torah principles and let God be God. And it's good for God and good for reality, but for this world, it would be devastating. I mean, you're saying if he's not Michael Jordan and he's just pretty good, that his Michael Jordan card is something else. You and I have had this discussion last year, Ari, and I still stand by my opinion. You know what it was?
This was about the Jewish energy of Cleveland?
That also, I think LeBron I really believe this. I think the only way for LeBron to be great, he would have to be a player coach.
Oh, right, yes.
I firmly believe it. You see, that's what he's struggling with the whole firing of Blott and Tyronn Lue. LeBron will never be Jordan unless he were to be the coach. If he were the coach, they would never lose.
That's interesting. Okay. I remember you talking about this last year. Tell the audience again why you think that is.
Back in the 50s, I don't know if who was the guy that won?
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Was he a player coach?
He was the last year or two of his career.
Right. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, just out of Cincinnati, and my hero was Pete Rose. Okay, love him and hate him, he deserves in the Hall of Fame. He was a player manager, and he broke Ty Cobb's hit record when I was a kid. I saved the newspaper clipping. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, right? That Pete was a first baseman, I believe, and the manager. So I was born into that concept. I never lived in a world where that wasn't a possibility. It's like, imagine being voted in the Hall of Fame in your lifetime or in your career, right? I never saw that, but imagine if that were possible. You'd say, okay, that's the pinnacle. Well, for me, my pinnacle was, be so great you coach the team. So now we see LeBron, and I'm a fan of LeBron because he's from Akron, and I before Israel I was in Cleveland, so I remember him also being in the newspaper when he was in high school. So he was known by me. I mean, I knew who he was. We all did when he was in high school. So this was honestly, we all had the inside knowledge of him from when he was like 14. This is not new. He won 3 state titles, I think, or 3 or 4. But he got suspended 1 year because they sanctions. I forget what the whole story was.
Well, he signed some stuff, and he got a benefit out of it. He got some shoes, and they considered that was like money,
right?
And that kind of thing.
They bought his mom a Hummer, but
right. His mom got this loan she wasn't supposed to get to buy a Hummer, right?
But I think they may have lost a state title in the junior year, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, he dominated everybody. But he never dominated the game like he could have, because he wanted his teammates to be involved, right? He could have just dunked from the free throw line, because I mean, this guy was like 6'8" in high school, and I know I'm from Ohio. I know these guys; they're like 5'5". I mean, even if they're like 6 feet tall, he was just high school basketball. He was a man. He was an NBA player, so he could have dominated. And most of the schools are just little normal kids. He wasn't a normal kid. And they say that his basketball intelligence is off the charts. I saw an interview with Kyrie Irving, and he was saying, when LeBron breaks the game down for his teammates, he's 5-6 moves ahead. And this whole discussion tonight is similar about chess. The way you win in chess is you just read the board, you know your moves, but when you gain the board, when you understand what's going on, that's called the victory. Now you just play it out. The other guy, he knows he lost because he never got it. So he's bluffing. And what is, you put the pressure on until the guy breaks. Bobby Fischer said his favorite part of playing chess was when he would hear the guy's ego break, right? So it's the same principles. LeBron knows how to think ahead like a chess player. But I believe this, that I don't think the coaches know. I don't think they know how to think ahead like him. I think he's a basketball genius. But he doesn't do it from like a Phil Jackson point of view. He's not, I don't think he's very articulate with it, like which coach would be? I don't know offhand. But I think he just lives it. I think he is it. I think he's ingrained in basketball. So it would be no team in the world. I mean, it would be like running a team around Tim Tebow. Even though I think it would work for certain teams, no one bit. No one wanted to run the wishbone. So with LeBron, he could do it, but it's like he would have to have total control. I mean, we're talking about picking the roster, running the practices, running everything. Because he is such an alpha male. More than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was an alpha, but he recognized he was like a one-man dog, right? Because Michael was subordinate to Phil Jackson, and that's why it worked. In the end, Kobe Bryant was not as much as Michael Jordan was, but enough to win championships.
All right, in the last two titles, he was at least more respectful towards Phil Jackson.
Right, and it wasn't exactly like Michael Jordan, but it was enough to win. I mean, Shaq was totally subordinate to Phil Jackson.
Right.
LeBron is the thing that he's not subordinate to anybody. And he shouldn't be, because I think he's good enough to run an entire organization. But he'll never do it. I mean, obviously, they'll never give that. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. In 1950, they probably would have. 1960, maybe. 70, maybe. It's just he's in the wrong era. He was in the wrong guy, in the wrong era, the wrong everything. I mean, so he's really playing two different games. It's like we see he loses games to get his teammates to rise up, because that's what he's playing with. It's just not right. And nothing's right. And he's putting himself in a box. He has to put himself in a box to succeed. And I think, but this is just an analogy, because this is true for all of us. Wherever you're not Michael Jordan, you're in a box. And for you to be great, you would have to break out of that box. It's like driving in Israel. I hate driving in Israel, because the lanes aren't wide like in America. So in Israel, it's very dangerous driving. You can fall asleep at the wheel. There's pressure. In America, I never had that problem. Why? Because Israel, they put you in a box. In America, you're less in the box. So when you're forced into a game you don't want to play, you're subpar. When you're free to be you, you can perform better. But if there's no infrastructure for you, then you suffer. And that's what I think is true for all these different things.
Again, this is the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio, joined by Rabbi David Katz. So, Rabbi, what would you say to LeBron in the aspect of the fact that he is not in his ideal situation because he's not the player coach? Do you tell him to just kind of make it through, muck it through, you won't be your best? What would you say to him?
I would say get out of your contract, right? I understand why you went to Cleveland. He had to, after the way he left. And I think he thought that playing in the box would work because, like you said, his 50% is better than everyone else's 100. But I think he needs to be wise in as much as it was wise for Michael to accept Phil. I think, and better yet, what is the best marriage in basketball history? Some would say Tim Duncan and Popovich, right?
Right, 5 titles.
Right, but they're in sync. Right, they have conflict. They said, but they're totally in sync. LeBron needs to find a Popovich, someone that he is just in sync with, so there's less conflict and more liberty given. I mean, he would have to find the real ideal fit. I saw articles this week that he was more comfortable with D Wade than with Irving, and I think that's apparent. We're seeing that. So he understood the big three in players by being with his brothers. They say he has 3 friends in the league: D Wade, what's the guy's name in the Knicks? Carmelo, and
Anthony,
and the little guy. What's his name?
Chris Paul, probably.
Yeah, Chris Paul. So LeBron knows who his brothers are in the league. I think he needs to find a brother in the coach. You know, he needs to find just that ultimate, like what he had in high school. In high school, he had that. And remember, he never went to college. That's a big chisaron in these guys' lives. Because they in college, a lot of guys bond with, the Bobby Knights and the Mike Krzyzewskis, right? So LeBron never had a pro coach that really was his guy. He hated Mike Brown. Pat Riley was just a bigger alpha than him, right? And here, Blatt was an idiot. I'm sorry, but he was. It just was. I thought he would have done a better job, but he needs to find his home. And it's not. I don't think it's Cleveland. I think he's got to find his home.
Okay, so again, this is the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio, joined by Rabbi David Katz. What is it about LeBron that makes him the type of player that needs to also be the coach, or find a coach that is like a brother to him as opposed to other players who don't need that?
I think I think the game is in him. He can play every spot on the floor. I mean, he's obviously his body and his talent is second to none. Everything that I've seen shows that. That's like when he hesitates, it's mental, and I don't mean he has a mental block. He's working out the game in his mind. He's thinking. He's figuring it out, and I think the problem is he's trying to figure it out in a system that's less than his system. I think in his mind he has a system, and I don't think he'll be a coach when he retires, because for him. The system has to be as he's playing. It's like it has to come out live, the inspiration of an Ari Lewis radio show, right? It's got to be in the moment. He has to take charge in the moment. Like real street ball, but elevated to pro ball. I mean, it's extremely unique. There's obviously no infrastructure for that, but I think that's what he's plagued with. I think he's... in the world to come, the supreme basketball player, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like LeBron, right? 'Cause that's what we're learning in Mishneh Elyon, the Third Temple, that everything in this world is a lower wisdom. In the world to come, you operate on your higher wisdom. So in the world to come, you can perceive, right? LeBron, running his own thing. Dreams come true in the world to come because everyone gets their ultimate Michael Jordan card. As we're depicting that. In this world, you don't have the luxury to be you. It's like, what if I'm a great banker, but I have to wear my pajamas every day? Not going to fly. You have to wear a suit. I can't wear a suit. Then you're not a banker. But in the world to come, that wisdom that you possess, Okay, and for some weird reason, you got to wear your pajamas. I don't think it'll be like that exactly in the world to come, but because it's not a holy depiction. But whatever it is, you can't be you in this world because you are meant for the world to come and not now. That's just how it works.
So, talk a bit about that. So after Mashiach comes and the temple's built, will there still be basketball? Because you were just saying from a lower wisdom to a higher wisdom.
Everything in this world is a vessel, and the vessel has a lower purpose in this world. Let's pretend Twitter. Let's say in the world to come, because computers are a vessel in this world, God spreads Torah in the world to come with Twitter. I have no idea. What we know is that creation here serves as a vessel there. So I'm making this up. If it's not holy, it's not meant to be. Now, let's just say Twitter is, in the world to come, the English characters of the word Twitter is based on the Hebrew or Aramaic, which is a secret name of God, Tweetel. So the Mashiach in the world to come spreads Torah through the enter button, and everybody goes, whatever, I don't know. I'm just dramatizing this. In this world, it comes out as internet and spreading sports results. Whatever we have here, the function is lower. Let's talk about this. Let's say that women are viewed as just marital partners in this world. In the world to come, a man and a woman will share wisdom and understanding, and not just what they do now, right? Everything gets elevated. The Ari Lewis radio show is into spreading the word of God in the world to come. Here, Ari has to make a living, so he's willing to entertain and interview less than holier people, right? But in the world to come, Ari's function is spreading, only the highest word of God. Who knows? I don't know. It could be, Ari, you're supposed to be a rabbi, but for whatever reason you're compromised, so you go into radio, and you're trying to make it in radio, but you're asking, why am I not syndicated worldwide? The answer is because really you want to keep it completely holy, and that can only happen in the world to come. I don't know. Those kind of scenarios are the shift that needs to take place.
All right, again, this has been another episode of the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio. My guest has been Rabbi David Katz. And, Rabbi, give a plug for some of your works that people can go out and purchase.
All right, so the books are now on Amazon.com. Go ahead and type in the search bar on Amazon.com. Soul Mazal, S-O-U-L. M as in Mary, A-Z-A-L. Soul Mazal. The World of the Ger. Also available at Amazon.com. We have an upcoming Texas conference for all the followers of what's going on. When I say followers, we're talking about enthusiasts of the genre that we're bringing out, which is the Universal Torah. It's going to be in West Texas near Waco. Come on out for that. Look up Russell Kirk on Facebook. Contact him for details. We have projects in the works, more works, translations, and Torah genre coming out. So stay tuned for that. We have a big year to come. Shavuos is coming up here. This, I guess this, how would you call it? Motzi Shabbos, Yom Rishon. So we're turning a corner towards the end of the year, and this has been a great run, a great year, and I hope everybody stays connected and committed. And please support the work if you've found much light and wisdom through this, and don't forget to help out Ari for all the great work he's doing for everybody.
All right, thank you so much again. This has been another episode of the Messiah Hour here at Israel Sports and News Radio. Again, you can email us at messiahhour@gmail.com or israelsportsnewsradio@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and thank you on behalf of Rabbi David Katz and myself. God bless, stay safe, and shalom from Israel.